If there is one thing we love at Nerdly, it is a Scott Mann movie. Scott Mann, Jonathan Frank, you are back together, the dream team. If you've seen Heist, if you've seen Tournament, if you've seen Final Score, you are going to love Fall. Well, you might not love Fall, like check out my review and I'll give you an idea of what to expect. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. If you have seen it, let me know what you thought. I'm about to review Fall. Hello everybody and welcome back to Nerdly Out Loud, the official channel of nerdly.co.uk, your favourite British home for all your news, reviews and exclusive interviews. We like to cover everything from the big budget to the no budget to the low budget, with a special keen interest on the lower end of the scale. That's the movies I like to try and push the most. I like to try and get them out there, people see them, and you find the odd gem. I've seen Heist, I've seen Tournament, I've seen Final Score, and I loved all of those movies. It does help when you got Craig Conway dropping in every now and then. This one though, Fall, holy crap. Like, I finished this movie, I was shaking. I physically felt away, like it got to me, it got under my skin, so I couldn't wait to get in the booth and talk about it. But before we get into that, please do all of those wonderful, amazing things, and that is to hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and ding that notification bell. It all helps with the YouTube algorithm, gets us out there, people see my reviews, see my interviews. I've got a ton more incoming, I've got loads of stuff that I've recently just dropped, I've got more that I'm going to be dropping. There are going to be reviews for days and days and days. I'm just going to keep rolling with it. There's a lot of good films coming your way, but yeah, this movie, I just had to talk about it. So yeah, let's get into it. And with that, you all know how I do this. It's probably never ever going to change unless I get bored, and then I will change it up. So look out for that. But yes, we are going to talk about the plot of this movie. We will move into the cast and characters of this movie. Then we will move on to what I did and didn't like, finishing up, rounding out, as we always do, with my Nerdly Out Loud rating. That is my Nerdly Out Loud rating, not necessarily the rating of Nerdly on the whole. So Fall is one of those movies that falls into that really neat little genre that's been really picking up pace as of late, and we've got movies like 47 Meters Down, we've got movies like The Shallows. Back in the day you had Open Waters, kind of The Descent, but it's those survival movies, those survival, I wouldn't call it a horror, it kind of is a little bit of a horror, but for the most part they're just thrillers, the one that get your nerves just shredded. And two best friends, Becky and Hunter, after a tragedy that happens at the start of the movie, I will try and keep this as spoiler free as possible, but after a tragedy that happens at the start of this movie with Becky's boyfriend, he does, in a rock climbing accident, he does fall to his death, and it kicks off the movie. We spend a little time getting to know who Becky is, and then Hunter, her best friend, she's got this idea. They're going to go to this radio tower out in the middle of nowhere in America, and it's 2,000 feet tall, and they are going to climb it. And of course they're going to climb it. Why wouldn't they climb it? Becky's a little bit not sure. Hunter is let's just do it. They begin to climb the tower, and as they get to the top, that's when the movie really turns into what the movie is. They get stuck up there. How are they going to get down? How are they going to survive? What's going to happen? I am not afraid of heights, but I kind of feel like I might be now. I don't really want to say too much. That is the plot. The trailer gives you that. They climb the tower, they get to the top, they get stuck. It's all about how are they going to get back down, if they can get back down. That is the nuts and bolts. So let's talk about the cast. It is very much a cast of two, with Becky being played by Caroline Currey, and Hunter being played by Victoria Gardner. It's not like you've got a lot to work with, because you are just essentially climbing a tower and trying to survive. They do get given a little bit of backstory and a little bit of conflict between the two characters, but for the most part, they are on each other's side and they want to do right by each other. But yeah, I really, really buy the relationship and the friendship. The dialogue at times can be a little bit janky and a little bit ropey. They do say shit a ton of times in this movie, but when I went and had a look on the IMDb, it turns out when Lionsgate got the rights or something like that, or when Lionsgate picked it up to put it out there, they got them to do some ADR work and go back and change a load of F-bombs to S-bombs I'm totally fine with that. I guess they were going for a PG-13 rating because there's nothing really, although you do get like a little bit of blood in places, there's not much else that's going to get you a higher rating. So I'm cool with that. I genuinely just thought these girls ripped it and gripped it, and they made this movie. They made me care. They made me want them to get back down. They made me want them to survive. And sometimes when I watch these survival movies, like if there's a shark circling, I kind of just want the shark to eat them because they're annoying. These girls are not annoying. They're extremely likable, extremely relatable, so they make this movie even more tense because you like. Jeffrey Dean Morgan is also in this movie. He's more so at the start of the film because once you have the tragedy before you get to climbing of the tower, you do get like a good 15 minutes of sort of story building and backstory on our two girls, a little bit of relationships going on, and of course, Jeffrey Dean Morgan plays the father of Becky. And it's always great to see Jeffrey Dean Morgan in a movie. I know he's worked with Scott Mann before, but that's the great thing that I've noticed about JDM. Like, he likes going and doing these sort of indie projects, and so, I don't know, maybe it was just like, Scott Mann's my pal, I'm going to make it. I suppose the only other remaining character would be Mason Gooding, who plays Dan, the boyfriend who dies at the start of the movie. There's not much point getting too much into that character because you don't get much of him. It's pretty much the very start and then a flashback halfway through. So let's talk about what I did and didn't like. Make no mistake, our two female leads are the stars of this movie. They carry the movie, they push it forward, and they get us to where we need to be. But what I will say, the sound design on this is just incredible. I feel like I'm saying that a lot in reviews lately. Is this just something I'm picking up on? When they first start climbing the tower, you kind of know what's coming. It's pretty much all, apart from a couple of things, telegraphed for you. They've already kind of built it up when they're climbing, but you get shots of like rusty beams, you get shots of ropes that are being stretched, you get shots of bolts kind of looking like they're half falling out, and you get all this thing, but the sound that accompanies all of this, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna tell you right now, when I got to the end of this movie, I was shaking. My hands were like this. I was sitting shaking, terrified for these girls. It made me feel away. I felt physically ill. And that plays into the visual styling. And for something that's set on just a tower, visually they have got so many great shots, so many different shots. They don't really overplay or overuse one shot. They do all these different things with it. You feel like you're looking over the edge of this damn tower, and it just gets you and it makes you feel a bit, like, I do wish I had seen this movie in the cinema. I will say that. If you have a chance to catch this flick in the cinemas, see it there, because I can't imagine how glorious this thing will look on like an IMAX or even just a huge ass screen. It will look amazing. But again, sound design and visual cinematography, just all brilliant. Like it really adds to the movie. It's not really a movie that lends itself to all that many twists, but we do get a couple. One of them based around the relationship of the two girls, and that's fine. You're kind of padding out the movie a little bit, you're giving us a little bit more backstory, you're trying to make us feel a little bit more. I'm already empathizing with these girls, I'm already sympathizing with the situation, I'm already in. So I didn't really need that, but I'll go with it. They gave us a little bit extra, so I guess I'm cool with that. The other twist, which I am not going to talk about at all, I am just going to say, Scott Mann, Jonathan Frank, you blew my mind with it. I was not expecting this. Absolutely brilliant French kiss. If I had to give a criticism for this movie, and it's a very, very minor criticism, it just wraps up a bit too quick. We have this whole thing at the start where we're building up to getting to the tower, and it's all good stuff. We have the whole tower climb and the getting stuck, and it's all amazing stuff. And then it just kind of comes to an end. But again, I don't think it's that bad when it wraps up and I'm sat there shaking. Like, I've already stopped breathing 3 times in this movie. I guess that's a minor thing, so I'm just going to move into my final rating. I'm a big Scott Mann fan, so I guess I was already predisposed to liking this movie, and I think Jonathan Frank, like, he doesn't write Gangs of New York, Wolf of Wall Street kind of scripts, but he writes solid solid scripts that make sense. They are very coherent. The characters all make sense. And that's what I really like about Jonathan Frank and Scott Mann. They know how to make a solid movie with a reasonable budget look much better than it really should. I was thinking about dropping a 4.5 out of 5 on this movie because it's not perfect. You know, you do have like the little bit at the start that kind of drags on a touch, and then you do have like the rapid wrapping up at the end kind of thing. So it's not a perfect movie by a long shot, but I am going to give this movie a 5 out of 5. And I base this on the fact that I would definitely watch this movie again. Everything really made sense. Characters made sense. What they were doing sort of made sense, as much as I was telling them not to do it because you're going to die. But it did make sense what they were doing. They set things up early on in the movie that get paid off later on in the movie. And really, that's all I need. I just need to be entertained, but I need it to be coherent. And this movie, as a survival genre movie, ticks every single one of your boxes. And if you're being critical of a film like this and saying the story's a bit too ropey, which I know I have said, you're not going into this expecting war and peace. You're going into this expecting two girls climbing a tower, getting stuck. How are they going to get down? Scott Mann, you've done it again. I genuinely think this movie's fantastic. Jonathan Frank, you have written another stellar movie that made me feel a way that I've not felt in a long time, really, while watching a movie. Like, you had my heart in my mouth. My heart had stopped a few times. I was absolutely shaking. I was visibly terrified and physically sick. And when I went upstairs, because my wife only did 20 minutes of this movie, by the way, she did 20 minutes and said she couldn't watch anymore. And that was pretty much when they started climbing the tower, because she's not good with heights. But yeah, if you can do all of those things in a movie like this, that's a 5 out of 5 for me, because it's done everything it was supposed to do. My name's Kevin Halden. This has been Nerdly Out Loud, the official channel of Nerdly.co.uk, your favourite British home for all of your news, reviews and exclusive interviews. Please do check out Fall when it hits the streaming platforms, the physical DVD when it's on the shelves, when it hits cinemas. If you can see it in a cinema near you, I absolutely encourage you to do so, because it will be a trip. Just an awesome trip. And again, Grace Caroline Currey and Virginia Gardner, what a pair of actresses they are.